Anyways, let's get into it. What it do, baby? It's your boy Baki back with another one. You already know what it is. First off, I appreciate all the support you guys been giving me lately. If you want to support, hit the like, subscribe, something. Anyways, I'm here to talk about Rebel Moon. We're just gonna do a light spoiler-free review. So I'll do the good, bad, and ugly, and then like maybe towards the middle end of it, I'll go to like spoilers. There's not really much to like spoil though, and we'll talk about it. Rebel Moon is essentially a hodgepodge of 10 other movies. I'm just gonna say it right out the jump. I actually, okay, we're gonna do a good, bad, and ugly, but if I was to describe the movie, it's literally Seven Samurai. Like, recruit a bunch of people to fight a bigger force eventually, right? That's literally the movie. Everyone you see over there in the image is recruited slowly but surely, essentially, right? That is the movie. And then you get a little bit of backstory with the main character and who she is and everything else, right? I think the real actress's name is Sophia or something like that. But the good about the movie, let's just do good, bad, ugly. Break it down. Good, bad, ugly. GBU. That's what we're going to start doing. We're going to start doing the GBU. All right, so the good, bad, ugly. The good, right? There are some pretty interesting shots and visuals in this movie that I think really haven't been done on this scale to look like as visually appealing as they do, I really, really like the look of a lot of things in this world, okay? I like the look of the weapons that they use. I like the look of the environments that they're in that are like in space or like when they're like above the clouds. I like the look of the dreadnought, like actual ships. I like some slow motion. I like some of the actors. They're like well-known actors, so I mean, that's cool. Some of the actors that are in here and stuff are really good, but the acting or lines of dialogue that they're being fed is what isn't good, but that doesn't take away from them. So I do credit the actors for, showing up and showing out. Dude, we're already running to like the end of good. This movie is pretty bad. It has potential, and hopefully the second movie will be a lot better. But when I tell you that I don't understand why people do this in movies now, like, and it's not even like a Mary Sue thing. It's just like, bro, we have been watching 8 action movies and like action scenes since the 80s. And it's weird because it's Zack Snyder. So it's even stranger. But there's like fight scenes that have no real back and forth between them. And because of that, you lose a lot of the element when the good guy just feels like she can just take down 7 dudes like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that kind of takes away from the element of what we're watching, especially when you have it in slow-mo. And I see her, like, you shouldn't be doing shit like that in slow-mo, first off. She's like in slow-mo grabbing guns and shit away. I'm like, why would you show me that in slow motion? Like, you're literally just taking away my belief of what this woman is capable of, because now you're showing me in slow motion when 8 dudes were looking around and they could have shot her in the back at any given time. And who is she? Like it's not like she was the harvester dude or whatever that like they're coming to get the crops for or whatever, right? She's just a random chick that they want to bang or whatever in the scene or whatever. So it's like, why not just shoot her? But no, we got to have it all like this weird slow-mo back and forth. It was just like, oh my God. Some of it really was like questionable, bro. Like, why is this movie so long? I'll tell you why it's so long. I got to watch this chick put on a jacket. I got to watch her put on a jacket. You got to watch the most pointless things in this movie, bro. There's one part where they're like, yo, we need to find this dude who's hidden and we can't find him no more. And they're like, well, where was he last seen? Oh, he's on this planet. And then they go to the planet and they find him instantly. They find him instantly. He's just laying there. Okay. Like, plot. Here's your plot. I'm your plot. Hi, plot here. I'm like, what was the point of that? why even give us these lines of dialogue and make it seem one way and then you're not even going to act upon it in another way? There's another line of dialogue where like there's this other lady, like one of the ladies they recruit, after they recruit her, she's like, we're not doing this for revenge. We don't do it for revenge. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. And then the next dude they go get, she literally says, do it for revenge. And he gets up and he's like, yep, I'm doing it for revenge. And then the person who has the no revenge rule and the person who has the revenge rule never have a conversation about their differences. The one opportunity you have to have some fucking friction or some juice in your movie, it doesn't happen. Never. Not even brought up. And it's like, that's the kind of shit that I'm talking about that I don't like in movies sometimes. And Zach fucking sucks at that shit, bro. Like, that's why I think his better movies are movies that already have stuff done, like Watchmen and 300 and shit like that. Because when you go to Zach and he just has his own shit to work with, he just seems to just fucking at one point just fly off the rails with like thoughts or something. I don't know. I don't really understand. It seems more visual than anything else. And the real bad about it is it's literally just 10 other fucking movies combined into one. It's Star Wars, it's a tiny fraction of Dune, Warhammer, it's Seven Samurai, it's Magnificent Seven, it's like, bro, what are we doing? It just doesn't feel authentic. Right? So it's like the movie has potential, or like the series has potential, but this world, I'm telling you, when it feels like it's not realized, it just doesn't feel like it's realized. There's another dude. So it's all about recruiting. This whole movie is about recruiting. But again, remember, it's part one. So that's fine. Whatever. I'm not even judging on that. I say it shouldn't even have been a part one, part two. They could have probably cut half this slow-mo and saved 45 minutes, made it shorter, and then just rolled out a Rebel Moon 2 or whatever. Anyways, there's a part in the movie where they got to go recruit another dude. They go to recruit this dude, and he's like a slave or some shit. And then they go recruit him, and when they're going to go recruit him, the guy who owns him says he owes us $300,000, right? And then the chick, the main chick that's right there, she's like, well, we don't have that kind of money. And he goes, well, I do love to gamble. I was like, okay. I just told you I don't have that kind of money. He goes, if you can tame that beast out there, then he's free to go. And I'm like, wait a second. This man just said he was worth $300,000. You're telling me all you need to do is tame that beast out there, and then that's somehow going to give you $300,000. And what do you mean by tame? Like, it's still a wild beast. If this guy who just had a link with him leaves, then you no longer have that bond with that creature. Why would you think horse whisperers just come ride it once like it's Zelda? That's literally what you do in Zelda. You like ride the horse one time, you break it in, and then it's your horse. If you think that's how it is in any other situation that's not a video game? Why would you think to break in a horse, you just got to hop on it once, saddle it up, and geez, no more problems. You know what I mean? And that's essentially what it is. It's the Indian breaking in the horse, but instead of breaking in a horse, he's like breaking in this Griffith creature or whatever. And I'm like, dude, why are you just taking from so many other elements of movies, and instead of you have the potential to make things really interesting, but at every point he like shot himself in the foot. For example, at the beginning of the movie, it's basically bootlegging Glorious Bastards. The Empire comes and they're like, they come and they say, hey, we want this, we want that. You know what I'm saying? But like, you know how like in Inglourious Bastards, like the conversation between what's his name, Hans, I think, and the guy who was harboring all the fugitives, right? Or all the Jewish people, he was like, it was a back and forth between them. And see, like the German, he had the advantage because he started speaking English, and he was like, can you speak English? Knowing that they couldn't understand any of that. So the way that he was moving was very deliberate. And the conversation and I'm not saying he should have Quentin Tarantino levels of thought process with dialogue. I'm really not. I'm not saying that should be him at all. But there's none of this Do you understand? It's all like it's like a trimmed out, it's like a trimmed down script to where, like, if the line doesn't serve the plot immediately, then it's not in the movie. And I don't think that's necessarily the best thing to do. You need to have moments with characters where it kind of is about nothing, or like the conversation that they're having back and forth may seem about nothing, but each other are like sizing each other up or whatever's going on, bro. Like when the Empire first comes and they drop off the people, I was like, oh shit, that's hella smart, like leaving people behind and shit. And I was like, dude, these guys are like the goofiest looking fucking 6 motherfuckers they left behind I've ever seen. Like, you don't leave you got this big ass ship, you don't leave a legit garrison team behind to like stay with the people, so when you come back in 10 weeks or whatever the fuck it is, you got a real harvest. It's like, I just didn't understand so many weird aspects of the movie. And then, like, at the end of the movie, a lot of the payoffs happen. Like, they explain a lot of the shit. But bro, it's the end of the fucking movie. You're dumping dialogue expositions that should have been permeated throughout the entire movie at the end of your movie. So you're telling me that the moon that they used it for was for this and this, and it's like you get there and you're like, well, why didn't you have that woven through your story, bro? Like, it should have been woven through your story, man. Not like delivered at the end. I don't know. It's so predictable shit, bro. The dude's like, I'm an opportunist. I was like, come on. What do you mean? It's just too on the nose for a space opera, and it doesn't really explore anything. I'm going to be honest with you. That's cool if people loved it. Like Zach, I mean, my boy Kyle, he loved it, bro. He came in and told me about it. You know what I'm saying? He's like, this shit's so good. I don't know what the fuck he saw. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't. To me, those lines of dialogue just don't exist in this world, bro. And it was just like, it's just too much, man. It was just too much time for such little to be said. Right? We spent. How long did we spend? We spent what, almost 3 hours on this damn movie. You know what I mean? And it's like nothing was said, bro. We set up the plot for the next part. We did what we needed to do and the objective that we needed to complete, but what was the message that was said? See, that's my issue with MCU movies. This movie feels not like an MCU movie, but in the same kind of way where, like, it's always about the people that are in it and then never the outer world that exists within it that they're in. That's what I hate about, like, MCU shit. And it's the same here. It feels like there's just this little containment of like 8 or 9 people that matter. And then you got this world that looks interesting, but you never get to explore it or see it or do anything about it because it doesn't involve the main objective of pushing the story forward, which I think takes away from it, bro. Like, you have to have moments where things seem like something else should transpire, even if it doesn't, you know? And I think that's the biggest issue, is everything just seems so readable from the jump. It's just like right when the dude came, I was like, instantly thought Inglourious Basterds, first movie, right? I saw that. Then, like, the next scene, I was just like, okay. And then I see the next scene, I'm like, oh, this that movie. Oh, this that movie. Oh, this. It just felt very hollow. And I'm not, supposedly there's like a rated R version or whatever, and I'm not gonna be somebody to say that won't make a difference, because for me, Snyder's Justice League made a hell of a difference, but there's still shit in Zack Snyder's Justice League that I thought was stupid as shit, like the in future universe shit where he just let Jared Leto go off about reach arounds and all that shit. Like, bro, what are you doing? That kind of shit just seems like it just escapes him, and he's like, oh, that sounds cool, let's do it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do that all the time. You can't go with what you think sounds cool all the time for these kind of big budget movies and think that you're gonna be all right. Like, I don't know who saw this movie and told him that this movie was great, but I don't know. For me personally, I give this movie like a 5 out of 10. Just straight up average all around. And I would say to wait on watching it, because if Zack Snyder releases the director's cut of it, then you don't have to waste 3 hours of your fucking life. You know what I'm saying? Like, it felt like a waste of time, bro. Like, I don't know. It really did. There's just so many moments where you're just like, bro, what is happening? Like when they went to go recruit the like the black dude, and he's like, I won't do it. I refuse. I can't. I don't do that no more. No. And then they're like, we'll do it for revenge. He's like, I'm in. Just not that good, man. If you want my recommendation, I say don't touch it until the director's cut, Zack Snyder's version, because there's like no blood. There's just so much, dude. Her backstory is somewhat interesting, but then they barely go anywhere with it, and it's like even her development isn't really that deep or strong. The robot is really cool. That was a cool moment with the robot. See, the robot had a moment, but then the robot wasn't anywhere to be seen until the end, and I was like, interesting. But that was cool though with the robot. See, that was a cool character. He probably has the best character development out of everybody aside from the main character. Everybody else is just the same. And again, how can the revenge person who's all about revenge not butt heads with the Asian lady who's all not about revenge? They literally are counters of each other, and they're on the same fucking team, and they're cool. They're just like, yo, I'm with the flow, bro. Yeah. It's like, dog, what's going on? So that's my review of this movie. Like I said, there's some things to like about it. It's visually, appealing and shit. I'd say with some alcohol, it's not a bad movie. It's not like I had a bad time watching it and I was like, yo, I need to turn this off or looking on my phone or some shit. It's just like, bro, there's just so many scenes where you're just like, okay, it's slow-mo. I'm just going to look around now that it's slow-mo and just observe the world, I guess. I don't really know what you're supposed to be looking at in slow-mo scenes a lot of time. I really don't. And he loves that shit. He's just adding more and more and more and more slow-mo. There's a scene where they're throwing rice or seeds in slow-mo. There's a scene where the lady slams a dude into a table in slow-mo. There's a scene where she's shooting one bullet in slow-mo. There's a scene where she's fighting multiple people in slow-mo. There's a scene where she's running in slow-mo. There's a scene where fucking Ray Fisher is running in slow-mo. There's a scene where Ray Fisher is jumping in slow-mo. What do you need that much slow-mo for, bro? Why do you need 37 scenes of slow-mo that turn every single scene into a minute? I don't get it. I don't know. Listen here, and I don't want to hear I'm a Zack Snyder hater or none of that shit in the fucking comments, because I like Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition. That's like one of my favorite fucking superhero movies, and I stand 10 toes down. I will fucking debate a motherfucker about how that shit's a better fucking movie than most Marvel movies to the day I die. So I don't want to hear that shit. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're not Zack Snyder. No. It ain't about it. I like Zack Snyder. I don't like Zack Snyder. I don't like this shit. I didn't like Army of the Dead either. That shit was trash. I don't really like a lot of Zack Snyder shit. I'm gonna be honest with you. Batman v Superman was like the only thing he ever knocked out the park, and look how it's received. No one else likes that shit. So sounds like he don't probably got any hits. I don't know. That's what it sounds like to me. You know what I'm saying? I like BVS and Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, bro. Like, those two movies are fucking amazing to me. I like those more than I don't even like Man of Steel like that. Like, people like Man of Steel. I'm like, bro, Man of Steel is kind of dookie. Whatever, though. We don't need to get into all that. What we need to get into is nothing, because this shit's done. I'm done talking about it. Rebel Moon is a 5 out of 10 at best. If I critically were to think about every scene, it probably is a 4 out of 10. Like, if we really went through and did like spoilers and shit, it'd be 4 out of 10. But there's no point for spoilers because it's not that good, and it really ain't worth talking about further than I am. And I'm not bashing and saying it's the worst shit on the planet. I'm just saying, like, bro, we waited all that time for you to be like typing this shit in like it was gonna be like better than Star Wars. And like, I'm like, bro, I would rather still watch Star Wars. And I don't even like new Star Wars, bro. I don't like any of the new Star Wars. None of it, besides like Mandalorian. I don't like nothing. Nothing from the new Star Wars. Okay? And I still think I'd rather watch Star Wars. That's scary. But with the rated R version, right? Hopefully that changes it up. And part 2 is looking to be really interesting. They do show you a little trailer for part 2 afterwards. Part 2 actually looks like it's going to be interesting. It looks like that's where they're setting up and kind of doing like a what was that other movie that was like that? Outland. I can't remember if it was Outland or something like that. It was like a guy, he got transported to like a different time or dimension or whatever, and then he had to like help these like medieval people get ready for a monster that he was hunting or some shit like that. But it's essentially like that, like almost like Home Alone or something, like where the house is preparing and you're gonna get everybody prepared for a big fight. So that aspect looks like it's gonna be cool. But I don't know, bro. It just didn't have any depth to me, and there's no real like tangible shit to really hold on to. Especially after watching, see, what probably really butchered it for me is like a week before that, I watched Killers of the Flower Moon. And like you watch that and you're just like, dude, there's so much to unpack in every scene, bro. You're just like, holy shit. And then you just see things transpire. You're like, oh, okay. Oh. And even that movie, I really wish they went more in depth in certain scenarios and shit. But obviously they couldn't. It was already running up to 3 hours. But yeah, I'm fucking done with this one. I'll see you mofos on the next one. Make sure to like and subscribe. Y'all haven't done so, baby. We're going to the top. Can't do it without y'all, though. See y'all. Peace. I won't do it. I refuse. I can't. I don't do that no more. No.